This is Brendan, and this is going to be the Eagles 2015 schedule predictions. Now, this is a best case scenario thing, so this is assuming that our draft picks pan out, or at least Eric Rowe and Aguilar, and no starters get injured for a long period of time, and Sam Bradford can stay healthy. Also, we're not going to do preseason because who cares about preseason? So now that all that stuff's out the way, let's start the actual predictions. So week 1, the Eagles play the Falcons. And the Falcons have been bad the past couple of years because of injuries and their defense not playing to their maximum potential. Tony Gonzalez retired. So they've been on like a downward slope and they're now starting to like come back from that. And because of that, I don't have the Eagles blowing the Falcons out. Especially because it's in Atlanta. I have it being a pretty close game, but I have the Eagles coming out on top 28-21. In week 2, the Eagles play the Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys, but even though I hate them, that doesn't mean they're not a good team. And if the Cowboys still had DeMarco Murray, I would have them sweeping us this year. But since they don't, and they have a running back, Darren McFadden, who has fumbling problems, and no matter what anybody says, he will not produce what DeMarco Murray produced, even with the Cowboys' offensive line. Which means, in turn, that Tony Romo is going to have to throw the ball a lot more, and we all know what happens when Romo throws the ball too much. He makes bad decisions, he throws picks, and old Tony Romo's back in town. And since Tony Romo's going to do that, I have the Eagles winning 30-27 against the Cowboys in week 2. Week 3, the Eagles play the Jets. I'm going to keep this one short. Philly's going to win 17-7 because the Jets have a good defense. We have a pretty good defense. It's going to be a nice low-scoring game, but Philly's going to come out on top. Then week 4, we play another pretty bad team in the Washington Redskins. I have us beating them 35-13 because their defense didn't get any much better. Even though they picked up 2 good defensive tackles in the offseason, they did lose Brian Orakpo, and RG3 is going to bust his leg open like he always does. So, yeah, I have us winning 35-13. Week 5, the Eagles play the Saints, and I think we're going to win this game 31-24 because the Saints don't have Jimmy Graham anymore. If they still had Jimmy Graham, I think they could beat us. But since they don't, they really don't have any people they can throw the ball to. I mean, they have Kenny Stills, but in my opinion, he's an overrated wide receiver. They do have Marcus Colston, but he's not really a guy you think of when you say number 1 receiver. He's just a consistent receiver. And their defense, their pass rush mostly, is terrible. They have no pass rush. Their secondary is okay. Their linebackers are okay. But either way, I still have the Eagles winning 31-24. Week 6, the Eagles play the New York Giants, and those games are usually ugly. I don't think they're going to blow out the Giants like they did last year. That just doesn't happen every year. I have us winning 17-14, a low-scoring game, because most of the time when we play the Giants, it's a low-scoring game. Now, I've had the Eagles winning every week up to week 7, but I actually have them losing week 7 against the Carolina Panthers, 21-17, because Cam Newton's going to want revenge for what Connor Barwin did to him last year. I think he sacked him like 3 or 4 times, and like more people sacked him. I think he got sacked like at least 7 times that game in total. And they do have Kelvin Benjamin, who is a very good receiver. He's on the come up. I think he's going to have a really good year this year. Luke Kuechly's a great linebacker, obviously. So I do have the Panthers winning against the Eagles in week 7. In week 8, the Eagles have their bye, and that's actually pretty important for the next week. Because week 9, we play the Cowboys again. And if the Eagles didn't have their bye the week before, I would have us losing this game. But I also have us winning this game because Dallas comes off a week playing Seattle, and Seattle's a very tough team. They're going to be like worn out. The Eagles are coming off a bye, so they're going to be fresh. And I have them winning the game 28-14 for the same reasons of week 2, and because the Cowboys are going to be worn out from the Seahawks, and we're going to be all ready to go from the bye week. And then in week 10, the Eagles play the Dolphins, and I have them winning 21-17, just because Miami has a very bad offensive line. Even though it's getting better, it's still pretty trash. And the Eagles have one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. And when a good pass rush plays a bad offensive line, Tannehill's going to get sacked, Tannehill's not going to play good, and Eagles will win. Week 11, the Eagles play Tampa Bay, and I think Jameis Winston is going to bust in the NFL, and the Buccaneers are going to be even worse than they were last year. And because of that, I have the Eagles winning 21-0. I know it's a bold statement, but That's what I think. Week 12, the Eagles play the Lions, and I was gonna have the Lions win this game until I realized it's on Thanksgiving. Eagles have never lost on Thanksgiving, and even when I had Detroit winning, it was gonna be close. But because the Eagles have never lost on Thanksgiving, I had to have them winning. I have them winning 31-28. Week 13, the Eagles play the Patriots, and I have the Patriots winning this game 21-7 for the sole reason that Tom Brady, even though he is a cheater and he's a scumbag, he's still a good quarterback, and he's going to light up the Eagles because their secondary is definitely better, but it's still not anywhere near a top secondary. So Tom Brady is going to dot us up, and we will lose Week 13. Week 14, the Eagles play the Bills, and I have the Eagles winning this game 28-24. I would have the Eagles winning by more, but because LaShawn McCoy probably wants to prove that he can still be a good running back away from the Eagles, he's going to run for an absurd amount of yards and get the Buffalo like 2 touchdowns. And yeah, so that's why I have the score so close. Week 15, the Eagles play the Cardinals, and I would have the Cardinals winning this game if it was a normal game, like nothing was inflicting it. But because the Eagles played the Cardinals last year and they lost a very close game, they're probably going to be very upset, and they're going to play even harder and beat the Cardinals 38-28. Week 16, the Eagles play the Redskins again, and I have them winning 24-17 this time. Again, for the same reasons as they won before. Washington isn't very good, and Eagles won't lose against a bad team, even though they did last year. In the final week, week 17, the Eagles play the Giants again, and I have the Giants winning this time 17-14, just because it's one of those games, like I said earlier, and the Giants, I think, will be able to pull one off with Odell Beckham and Victor Cruz. Now, I know I have the Eagles going 13-3, but keep in mind I said this is best case scenario. No draft busts, nobody getting injured, Sam Bradford doesn't get hurt and plays to his maximum potential. That is a lot of stuff that has to go right. But if it does, I really do think the Eagles will go 13-3 and maybe win their first Super Bowl. But if some stuff does go wrong, I think we will lose a couple more games, maybe go 10-6 again, 9-7. But hopefully none of that happens and the Eagles are good. And with that said, I'll see you guys later.